Hello, friends. I'm Robert Evans, and this is once again Behind the Bastards, the show where we tell you everything you don't know about the very worst people in all of history. And today we're actually doing a contemporary episode. We're not even diving into history. We are talking about the bastards of the 2018 midterm election. Now, this episode will be dropping on a Thursday, which you know if you're listening to it because it's a Thursday, or you're listening to it after it's aired, in which case I want you to act spiritually as if today is a Thursday, just in your own lives. Now, the first episode of our midterm coverage was on Mr. Ted Cruz, a man so shitty he needed only like 14 pages of writing on him. But today we're talking about something different. Because in all of the chaos of 2018, which has been a chaotic year, it would be totally understandable if you listening at home missed the fact that a couple of basketball teams worth of white supremacists and Nazis all ran for major state and federal offices this year. Now, the good news is that a lot of these guys were running in primaries and have already been eliminated by the time of this recording. Guys like Paul Nehlen. He lost the Republican primary race this year in Wisconsin's 1st Congressional District. Now, he's run several times against Paul Ryan, and he was essentially running to take Paul Ryan's soon-to-be vacated space this year. This year, when he ran, Mr. Nehlen enjoyed the support of Sarah Palin, Steve Bannon, and other popular conservative figures until reporters revealed his open support of white nationalism. See, it turns out Mr. Nehlen had guested on an anti-Semitic podcast called Fash the Nation.
Oh, my God.
During this episode of this podcast, he had advised a Jewish magazine editor to, quote, self-deport and, quote, eat a bullet. Mr. Nehlen denies being a fascist. He was just showing up on Fash the Nation, but he's not a...
I mean, it does sound fashy.
It does, sounds a little fashy. So where are you getting that from, Katy?
You know, his words, really.
His words.
Yeah, and I guess the title of the podcast.
Speaking of titles, I did not introduce you guys when we started this.
Yeah.
I'm just so used to talking with you about terrible things happening in politics. My guests today are from the Some News Network.
Some More News.
Some More News
Some
Network.
More News,
You're right.
I liked
You're right.
it.
Legally distinct.
Yeah.
Katy Stoll and Cody Johnston, whose name I mispronounced in the first episode, despite working with you for virtually the entirety of my 20s.
It's very easy to
Almost a
that
decade.
tea.
Almost a decade since I couldn't legally drink.
Well,
Good times. Anyway.
But yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for being on. Are you guys excited to talk about the actual straight-up fascists and white supremacists who might win in November?
literally can't wait.
I can't wait.
No, we're not. I want to make it clear here. We're not just talking about Republicans. We're not calling all Republicans fascists. Everyone on this list is someone you can credibly argue is a straight-up Nazi.
Right. That's the distinction I think is important. Because also, and you have, a lot of Republicans, sort of nuzzle up to fascists or like white supremacist groups, but there's a category of people who are just like, oh yeah, I'm into it.
These guys are full-on fascists. They're not just cradling the balls of fascism.
Right.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry. I didn't want to portray cradling the balls as a negative thing. This podcast is...
punching the balls.
We're in a wrong...
crushing the balls.
Shouldn't have started on this
There
road.
are lots of types of balls to cradle. In this situation... Those are fascist balls.
They're fascist balls.
So
and
that's the balls that they choose to
exactly.
cradle. But.
And all of the balls in this story are fascist. I don't know why I let this go so far.
We'll just keep going with it.
All right. So now, Mr. Nehlen, the guy who told a Jewish magazine editor to eat a bullet,
self-deport.
won 10% of the vote in the election. Now, he still lost, but this means that 6,635 people thought this guy would be a good congressman.
Too many people.
Too many people. Now, the good news is he still lost, but the bad news is that a whole bunch of people just like him might win in November. People like Russell Walker. Now, Russell Walker is a candidate for North Carolina House District 48. If you're in Hoke or Scotland County, North Carolina, and listening to this right now, this dude might be elected to represent you in November. Now, I just learned about him from a Raleigh News and Observer article titled, God is Racist, Jewish People All Descend from Satan, North Carolina Candidate Says.
Nice. Yes, that's the stuff. Wow. Oh, yeah, that's the 2018 jazz right there.
There we go. God is racist and Jewish people come from the devil. Russell Walker. As you might expect, Russell Walker's campaign website is something else. Cody, why don't you describe that picture there? That's just walk our readers through. That's the landing page to his campaign website.
Oh, this...
The pictures will be on our website, behindthebastards.com.
Yeah, this is a man with very large clothes that don't quite fit his body. And he's an older white man, bald, with a donkey, who he described as my little white ass and me.
What?
And I'm going to reserve judgment. Because, who knows what his views are. I mean, I do, because of what we're talking about today.
Oh, it's Mr. Belding.
What?
Aged.
He looks kind of like Mr. Belding.
Oh.
With a donkey.
So, yeah, Russell Walker, quaint little website. Looks like it was designed by an elderly racist who believes Jews descend from Satan. To his credit, Russell's campaign platform does include ending the war on drugs and reducing police brutality. It also demands an end to forced vaccinations, institution of English as the official language, and the removal of fluoride from our tap water. He could almost be any fringe candidate, left or right wing, until you scroll down just a little bit more, and you find his rant against the Southern Poverty Law Center, who, as you might imagine, have declared him an anti-Semite. Here's part of his response. They hate those who do not agree with them and seek to destroy by any means their opponents. They are not Southern, they are Jewish.
Listen.
How dare those Jews call me an anti-Semite?
Wow.
They're just mad because I says it like it is.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know how he plans to end the war on drugs, because I bet it's not something that I would be supportive of.
No, I'm going to bet there's some darkness hidden in there. Yeah. Also, the idea that you can't be Southern and Jewish. A lot of Jewish cowboys. One of them was in a great episode of The Simpsons. Fantastic episode.
He doesn't seem like a Simpsons fan, though.
I don't think he is.
Maybe he should be.
Certainly not that episode.
Certainly not anything written by Hollywood, for reasons that I'm sure he would want to elaborate on.
Weird. I wonder if there's going to be any more weird anti-Semitism. Let me read the next sentence I've written. Later in his website, he makes a comment about the funding of the SLPC and then says this. The Southern Poverty Law Center, a.k.a. Shylock Putrid Lying Cabal.
Oh, my.
We're not done. The ultimate hate group. They decry hate. They are not just haters, but, all caps, hypocrites. His blood be upon us and on our children. Matthew 27:25. Ashkenaz Jews descend from Japheth and not from Shem. Genesis 10:1-3. The anti-Semitic thing is a blatant lie.
Wow.
It's like your racist uncle had aphasia.
Wow.
Like, how, you proofread it, man. Like, write it, and then think about what you're trying to convince people of, and then read it.
How dare
is his
the
definition
Southern
of a hate group is haters?
People who hate it when he is anti-Semitic.
How dare these Jews?
These Jews call me anti-Semitic.
Unbelievable.
Oh, it's...
Wow.
I mean, at least he doesn't have a section on his website that literally is just like, the Holocaust didn't happen.
Or does he?
Some candidates this year have had that on their website.
Yeah, we'll be talking about them in minutes.
So that's Walker?
Yeah, that's Russell Walker. Walker. You'll be happy to know the Republican Party of North Carolina has pulled all funding and support from Russell after his views became publicized.
Good for them.
Yeah.
After his views became publicized.
Really important. Really important clause there. We should note that North Carolina is not the only state Republican Party dealing with a surprise fascist candidate.
Surprise!
Surprise!
It me.
Yeah, hit me, the Nazi. Arthur Jones started as a kooky fringe candidate in the Illinois 3rd Congressional District. The state party was against him from the beginning, the state Republican Party, due to the fact that he bragged about his past membership in the American Nazi Party. Yeah, he was a member of the American Nazi Party until 1980.
And he bragged about it.
He did brag about it, yeah. But then Jones won the primary anyway, even though the state Republican Party was against him. In retrospect, and maybe in forespect, the party had numerous opportunities to stop Jones before he got this far. Politico notes that the Illinois State Republican Party missed the deadline to register a third-party candidate for its members to vote for in the general election in lieu of the Nazi. Quote, prior to that, the party had also failed to recruit a candidate to challenge Jones in the primary election, failed to knock him off the primary ballot, and wasn't able to field a write-in candidate against him in the primary.
Okay, so what this actually means is that they're just not going to officially support him. That they were like, you don't just fail to do your job.
Yeah.
Like that.
We don't like that this Nazi is running as a Republican, but we will take literally no action to stop him from becoming our candidate.
We do like winning, though.
We do like winning.
We do love winning. interesting that they feel like they need to come out against these people, but not strong enough. And even when they do, they get voted for. Like maybe the party is sort of like taken on a form that they weren't expecting. Just sort of like the natural progression of their ideology over many decades. And we're sort of seeing like, oh, the curtain has been pulled back.
Like if you keep relentlessly pulling to the right and refusing to compromise with anyone who happens to be on the left, eventually that leads you into fascism?
Maybe that's what I'm saying.
Maybe there's some precedent. I wonder if the exact same thing happened in Germany in the 1920s and 30s.
That would be good to know.
There's no way to find out.
There's no way to find out. How would you even begin to look at history?
Yeah,
What's
it's impossible.
history?
It's impossible to study that sort of thing. Now, when Politico interviewed Arthur Jones, Jones expressed shock and glee that his state Republican Party hadn't registered a third-party candidate for the general.
Shock and glee.
Yeah, Politico actually informed him that they weren't running a candidate against him as a third party. He didn't even know.
He went, oh,
Really?
You know what the worst combination of reactions is from an actual Nazi?
Shock and glee. They didn't put up a third-party candidate, Jones asked when reached by phone Thursday. That's great. That's fantastic. I snookered them, he said of state Republicans. I played by the rules. What can I say?
Oh, yeah. Oh, how...
So, how bad is Jones, aside from the small manner of having at one point been a literal registered Nazi? Well, I'd like to turn to his website. Specifically, the section of it just titled Holocaust.
Oh, here we go.
It's just the one. This is the website I was talking about.
Holocaust with a question mark.
Oh, yeah.
The whole
I love clicking
Holocaust
on
with a
tabs.
question mark section appears to just be a series of scammed images of very old Holocaust denial pamphlets. Katie, you want to describe this and then maybe read the first paragraph?
Oh, God, yeah.
First off, just tell us, what does this scanned document look like?
Well, it looks legit. It's got a funky font that says the Holocaust, in quotes, racket. And you want the first paragraph of that thing?
Why don't you describe the little image on there first?
Yeah, there's the... what is in the middle of this?
That's a Star of David with the hammer and sickle in the middle.
Okay, the hammer and
sickle,
sickle
there it
in the
is,
middle
yeah.
of the Star of David.
Yeah.
Yes, and I can't overstate how fun the font is.
It's super fun.
And then, okay, the first paragraph says, this idea that 6 million Jews were killed by the National Socialist government of Germany in World War II is the biggest, blackest lie in history. Other than a few professional concentration camp survivors, that's all in caps, such as the late...
concentration camp survivors. That's what they're saying.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Such as the late Simon Wiesenthal.
You know, Simon Wiesenthal, famed fake concentration camp survivor.
Crisis
Or
actor.
the current Semitic superstar Eli Wiesel. There is no proof such a so-called Holocaust ever took place anywhere in Europe against the Jews.
Yeah.
So, God, that's convincing.
It is.
I bet he's also like, well, the Nazis were actually socialists.
And
So
he
like,
does just call them National Socialists.
right. So
Yeah.
like seeing that, I'm like, okay. So not only are you saying like the thing that Nazis did that was bad, they didn't even do that, but also they're the bad thing that you need to reject. Like, you can't mix them together.
It's like a double side collision of crazy
Yeah.
in the car of our national discourse.
I mean, listen, he is so blatantly anti-Semitic. I almost don't understand why you even need to deny the Holocaust.
Well, he doesn't deny it. He's just asking questions, which is why it's just Holocaust.
I'm just asking questions
About the
I'm just
Holocaust.
asking questions about the Holocaust.
Don't game up on me.
Man, this is a neat scan of Nazi propaganda.
Of a pamphlet like you would find shoved into your mailbox after fucking
Hammer and
swastika
sickle
was
in the
spray
Star
painted
of
on your
David.
garage door. Yeah. So congratulations, Illinois Republicans. This guy officially represents y'all in the eyes of the world because you had a chance to stop him, and instead of trying to stop him, did nothing.
Didn't try.
Didn't try at all. Didn't try at all. Wasn't that big a deal.
Don't seem to mind.
Don't seem to mind. I do hope he loses the election.
And well, at that point, also, like, this is the thing that really frustrates me. I mean, aside from everything.
Aside from everything.
But, like, with the Republican Party in this situation, and I think to a degree this applies to, like, Donald Trump as a person and as their president, but, like, in this situation, come out and say, vote for the Democrat.
Yeah.
That's what you do when you're accidentally running a Nazi.
Yeah, when a Nazi is
And you didn't maybe like put forth another candidate, and you've done nothing to make sure that the Nazi doesn't win. When that happens, you say, vote for the Democrat.
Yeah.
We Republicans, we're sorry we put forth a Nazi this time, but don't vote for the Nazi. We don't support the Nazi. Vote for the Democrats.
They want them to vote for the Nazi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to
Can't
win.
officially say it.
Yeah.
They just can't officially say it, but they can do nothing to stop the Nazi from winning. The good news is that this has played very badly for the state's Republican governor. It's possible he might lose re-election as a result of this, so, fingers motherfucking crossed.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of remarkable how bad state Republican parties have been at containing the spread of fascism and white supremacy within their own ranks. It's almost like they don't care enough to even try to stop it. This brings me to the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Commonwealth of Virginia.
Yeah. On Tuesday, August 8th, 2018, Corey Stewart beat Nick Freitas in the Virginia Republican Senate primary. Stewart is running against Tim Kaine this November. When Stewart won, the president, Donald Trump, sent out a congratulatory tweet. Congratulations to Corey Stewart for his great victory for senator from Virginia. Now he runs against a total stiff, Tim Kaine, who is weak on crime and borders and wants to raise your taxes through the roof. Don't underestimate Corey, a major chance of winning. Now, I've got a picture of the tweet on this, and I'm going to hand this to you, Cody. And why don't you read up at the top who retweeted Donald Trump there?
Oh, Jason Kessler.
Jason Kessler,
Yeah.
organizer of the First Unite the Right rally. Now, of course, this doesn't necessarily say anything.
No,
Jason
no,
Kessler
no.
can retweet whoever.
Yeah.
However, Jason Kessler, the white supremacist who planned and organized the first two Unite the Right rallies
In Virginia.
knows Corey Stewart. Because before the first Unite the Right rally, Stewart made several passionate speeches in defense of Confederate monuments. He also showed up at Charlottesville to support Jason Kessler's attempt to get Councilor Wes Bellamy removed from office for, quote, supporting a black supremacist agenda. So, Corey Stewart was running for governor at that point, but he didn't soften his attitudes on the Confederacy once he started his Senate campaign, or in the wake of the bloody Unite the Right rally, for that matter. At one rally in 2017, he stood next to a Confederate battle flag and stated, "Folks, this is a symbol of heritage. It is not a symbol of racism. It is not a symbol of slavery. I am proud to be here with this flag."
No, white man, you don't get to say what's a symbol.
It's only those things.
That's all it ever was.
But also, you don't get to say that this is not a symbol of something.
To me, this means this. No, it doesn't, man.
No. It was the battle flag of a nation founded for slavery.
It's so bonkers.
It's crazy.
There's a video I saw the other day. It was another one of these, like, we want to tear down this statue or take down this this slavery flag, and it's an argument being recorded, and like, look at this person, he's like being so mad, but then the person who wants the statue to stay is being very respectful, and they just wanted to have a conversation, and you zoom in the video, and the back of his ear is an SS tattoo.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not even trying to hide it, man. You're just a Nazi.
He's a Nazi. It doesn't matter how polite he's
like,
being. He's a Nazi.
Like, just don't trust Nazis.
Yeah. Don't
believe what they say at face value.
I feel like that should be a whole class we have to take in high school. Don't trust Nazis.
Don't trust Nazis.
Don't trust them.
Nazis. Things that are Nazis. The class.
Just like, don't.
Well, apparently we need it.
There's some room for debate on things that are Nazis, but SS runes on your neck, that's a pretty clear
Very
Nazi.
It's cut and
straightforward.
dry.
Yeah.
I've also heard it's just it's half of the KISS logo.
Shut the fuck up. Finish it then. Finish the KISS logo.
Oh, or that unit of Marine Corps snipers who said it stood for Scout Sniper, even though it was the exact same thing as, and they had a banner printed up. And
Yeah, I believe.
good times.
Yeah.
Good times. So yeah, the good news is that Corey Stewart will almost certainly lose his race against the incumbent. So good on you, Tim Kaine, bastion against fascism, bulwark of democracy, and guy I completely forgot existed on November 9th, 2016.
We were watching the news recently, and Tim Kaine apparently was on, and we were like, "That's not Tim Kaine. That's not what he looks like, is it?
Is it?
Is that generic man with his features receding into himself, Tim Kaine?"
Who is this potato with googly eyes?
Sorry, Tim Kaine, if
Sorry,
you're
Tim
listening.
Kaine.
No,
I'm sure you're a nice guy.
he's the distilled essence of a Democrat politician.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The most forgettable man in
They
the
just
world.
picked one who spoke Spanish. We're like, this is enough to.
You can do it. You'll hold the line here.
You'll really help that inferno of charisma, Hillary Clinton, deliver her message.
We need to like sort of balance these candidates.
Her wild firebrand
You can't
nature.
have two dynamos. That'd be too much.
That'd be too
Yeah,
much.
too much flavor.
Really good strategy from the
Yeah.
Democrats. Solid plan.
Well, that's the one thing I know about Democrats is they're good at strategy.
Yeah.
They're really masters of that.
And winning.
Speaking of not Democrats, next up, on our list of fascists who might have political power very soon is Bill Fowle. Like Arthur Jones, he's from Illinois. He believes the Sandy Hook mass shooting of 2012, in which 20 children were murdered, was a false flag attack. Here is a post from his campaign's Facebook page. It's Elect Fowle. It's pictures of the principal that died at the Sandy Hook school. And it essentially is arguing that she looks like someone who was present at the Boston Marathon bombing. And so this woman who was murdered protecting children was actually an actor hired by the government to take away your guns.
God.
Cool, right?
I wish I could get one of those jobs, working as an actor for the government.
Yeah. There's a whole Snopes conspiracy theory on this lady. It's wacko.
I mean, they're two different people.
They're two different people. It's just not.
Very upsetting.
It's just very offensive. Other posts by the Fowle campaign list the San Bernardino attacks and 9/11 as false flags. 9/11, by the way, was done by the Mossad. Interesting. I wonder if that's gonna have any anti-Semitic undertones. No. Now, Fowle does seem to have a special obsession with Sandy Hook. My favorite post of his is a Facebook post, a link to Washington's blog. The title of the article is Overwhelming Irrefutable Video and Documentary Evidence, Sandy Hook and Other False Flag Criminal Attack. And the picture with it is just George Washington next to his horse. Just George Washington denying the murder of 20 children. Classic George.
God.
Unrelated thumbnail you can imagine.
It's Washington's blog.
No, it's Washington's blog,
Yeah.
right? This is,
So there he is.
they uncovered George Washington's old blog post about Sandy Hook.
I'm sure he'd be proud to be associated with this.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
If there's one thing George Washington loved, it was denying the murder of grade school children. Bill Fowle was also an early prominent supporter of the Pizzagate conspiracy theory.
Yeah, he was.
Shocker, right? He claimed in an interview that there is nothing fake about Pizzagate, and he posted this to his Facebook on November 24th, 2016. Click on and like at the bottom of the first paragraph of this article and see the YouTube videos of Comet Pizza confirming the Podesta pedophilia January party to celebrate the birth of their Lord, Satan. and yeah, you might think I'm crazy, but I'm just sharing the increasingly obvious truth that Satanists are trying to take over America.
He's right. I do think he's crazy.
I do think he's crazy.
I think he might be crazy.
Now, by the standards of this list, however, I will say Fowle is probably the best person we're going to talk about today because so far, nothing inherently Nazi.
Okay, so he's just kind of a crackpot.
Just a crackpot. Alex Jones supporter.
Yeah. He does believe, again, that the Mossad was behind 9/11.
Seems like maybe you're building to something.
Yeah, well, he seems like more of a normal conspiracy right-wing kind of candidate than an explicitly fascist one, and that's why he first ran unopposed in his primary. That's also why he was able to secure endorsements from several Illinois Republican groups. But then Media Matters helped break the story of his conspiracy theorist bullshit, and when they did this, they asked the Rock Island County GOP chair, Drew Mielke, if the fact that this guy was spouting Pizzagate conspiracy theories changed his endorsement. Mielke said, "We support Fowle. I know he's a constitutionalist. In talking to him, I've heard him focusing on the issues of our district. There are a lot of things that Bill Fowle could do for our district." All
Way
Republican.
to ignore the problem, though.
Well, after this, all Republican Party officials in Illinois have since withdrawn their support of Fowle. Before we leave him, I do want to note that some heroic journalists over at CNN unearthed a bunch of his old blog posts and found that he also believes Beyonce is part of the Illuminati, which is, in fairness, a reasonable thing to believe.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, if anyone's going to be, it'll be her.
It'll be her.
Is she in it without Jay-Z?
It seems like it. He
Wow,
doesn't
that
mention
must be
Jay-Z.
hard on their relationship.
You would have to ask Mr. Fowle.
Yeah.
I do want to
will.
pinpoint nothing explicitly like, oh, you're not anti-Semitic openly.
Yeah.
Like, you're not, like, literally saying I support fascism. But there is a very clear, like, tie between fascism and like far-right conspiracy theories.
Yeah, it's Umberto Eco is probably the first person to really note it, that there has to be this sense of being under siege and of
by like
international conspiracy.
Right, conspiracies outside and inside sort of trying to take you down.
Yeah.
And like you see that in all these sort of fascist groups. They have these wild conspiracy theories about maybe a specific race of people, but maybe not.
Maybe it's all about the Jews when you get right down to it.
Maybe if you like dig a little bit, push, and find out. Oh
Just
yeah,
the
the
slightest
Jews did
amount.
Sandy Hook.
Speaking of not that,
Thank goodness.
you know what's good and not racist, or this is a bad ad segue.
I think it's really good.
You guys. Products!
I was going to say products sound very interesting to me.
Yeah, I like products.
All right, let's hear some products and also perhaps a service or three. Ooh. And we're back. We're talking about the fascists and the one guy who's kind of on the edge conspiracy theorist Bill Fawell, best guy we've talked about so far. Now we're moving on to John Fitzgerald. Now, we've been hitting the Midwest and the South pretty hard so far, but John Fitzgerald is running in California's 11th Congressional District. His story ought to be numbly familiar to y'all by now. The headline the New York Times gave to this July 6th article is a good starter summary of his campaign. Holocaust denier in California congressional race leaves state GOP scrambling.
Wow.
In
Scrambling.
Scrambling.
Yeah.
Well, this one you're gonna laugh.
I'll bet.
You're gonna laugh.
It sounds hilarious so far.
In June, he won almost a quarter of the votes in his district's open primary, making him number 2 overall in the district. Now, the 11th congressional district is around Berkeley, so we're talking about the San Francisco Bay Area.
That's surprising.
Yeah, we are talking about what is generally considered to be a bastion of leftism. This guy won, about a quarter of the votes, and he was the top-ranking Republican, so he's going to wind up running against the Democrat here. And the State Republican Party of California had a policy of whenever there was a Republican who was the only Republican running in a district, automatically endorsing him. That was their policy, automatically endorse these people.
Intelligent.
So they automatically endorsed John Fitzgerald when he came in number 2. Now, this became a real big problem for them after the primary when John Fitzgerald grew more open about his beliefs. About 3 weeks after becoming the endorsed candidate of the California Republican Party, he showed up on a radio show and stated, "Everything we've been told about the Holocaust is a lie. My entire campaign, for the most part, is about exposing this lie."
That's nuts. It's California, bro.
It's California, bro.
His entire campaign.
Yeah.
That is...
I can't imagine that this development is going to help him.
Well, I mean, who knows?
The California Republican Party did eventually disavow Mr. Fitzgerald, stating in an email to the New York Times, "Once we learned of Mr. Fitzgerald's anti-Semitic worldview in late May, we moved immediately to undo the unfortunate automatic endorsement." Maybe automatic endorsements are a bad idea.
Maybe rethink
Right. Like, you undid it, but maybe undo the policy. Maybe consider that.
Yeah, take it a step further.
Like, what was the problem?
Yeah.
in the first place?
Yeah.
If I were to have accidentally endorsed a Holocaust denier, I would think really carefully about the things
About
that
how
have led me
this
to
happened.
do that.
Like, why did you automatically endorse a Holocaust denier?
Yeah, without knowing that he was a
Yeah.
Holocaust denier. Yeah. Just some tips for the California Republican
yeah,
Party.
Like, maybe that, like, sort of.
And I'm sure they're listening.
Take it under advisement. They're big listeners of the show. Big fans of the
You're
show.
doing a great job.
You're doing, other than this
Real
endorsing a
bang
Holocaust denier
up
thing.
job.
Now, John Fitzgerald, of course, has a website. Now, when I first visited his website, it had a very long and detailed section about the sinking of the USS Liberty, which was a U.S. warship that was off the coast of Israel and was accidentally destroyed by the Israelis in like the 70s or 80s. It was just a horrible accident, and he had a whole thing about...
I bet it really wasn't, though.
Yeah, that was John
Yeah.
Fitzgerald's attitude. It has since been removed from his website. And in fact, I can no longer find anything anti-Semitic on John Fitzgerald's website.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah. As of right now, the first 3 or 4 paragraphs of his platform statement are broadly sane-seeming, if inaccurate. It takes about 6 paragraphs before he claims that the 9/11 report was a fraud and starts ranting about geoengineering and airborne aluminum, which is...
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Airborne aluminum.
Airborne aluminum. Coming to get
What
you.
happened? It just takes flight?
Yeah.
I love...
That's why planes work.
Oh, science.
Oh, airplanes. I love the bar that we have now of visiting his website. I couldn't find anything explicitly anti-Semitic.
After he removed the things that were explicitly anti-Semitic. Yeah. I will say, being an explicitly anti-Holocaust happened candidate and then removing...
Right. It's okay to be anti-Holocaust.
Yeah,
But anti-Holocaust happened.
Yeah.
But then removing all of that from your website when it has a political cost, it's like the Nazi equivalent of when Obama gave up on closing down Guantanamo. Like,
Yeah.
Now, a few days after that New York Times article, voters in the East Bay started receiving robocalls urging them to vote for John Fitzgerald. We're going to play one such call in its entirety.
And the Jewish takeover of America, and restore our democracy by voting John Fitzgerald for U.S. Congress. Even if you are a registered Democrat, it's no longer a real democracy when the 2% ethnic minority that are Jews has dominance over America and uses it to serve the foreign country of Israel. Your vote for John Fitzgerald means no more U.S. wars for Israel based on their lies, like the Jewish conducted attack of 9/11. Your vote for John Fitzgerald means no more sacrificing the lives and limbs of our children for Israel. Your vote for John Fitzgerald means no more killing for Israel. Don't be swindled by their cliche slander of him as being a neo-Nazi Nazi, which only shows how dumb they think you are. Reversing the takeover of America by a single 2% ethnic minority is 100% American, 100% democratic. Whatever your party affiliation, save our democracy while you still can, and vote John Fitzgerald for U.S. Congress.
This message paid for by the roadtopower.com.
Don't use that fucking song. I like that song.
Roadtopower.com?
Yeah, we're gonna.
Roadtopower.com.
You guys want to talk about that a little?
I was going to say, like, I hope we get to visit roadtopower.com.
You caught that bit, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. The roadtopower.com sponsor this message. Now, the first coverage I found of this robocall was an ABC 7 news report, and it just noted that this group had paid for, quote, similar racist messages in the past. It also noted that Fitzgerald denied coordinating with them at all or having any role in the creation of that ad. It's actually possible this is true, although it does gel in exactly with things.
Yeah, I mean,
Fitzgerald
his
said.
opinions seem to,
Yeah. So I looked into the group, theroadtopower.com, just a little bit more. I found an article on them by the Anti-Defamation League. The article reports that during this last year, the group has robocalled communities in California, Idaho, Iowa, Florida, and Pennsylvania. The Fitzgerald ads weren't even their most racist. Quote,
Wow.
Andrew Gillum became the first black man to win a major party's nomination for governor of Florida, and the Road to Power was ready with a racist robocall. I'm not going to read out the text of the racist robocall. It involves a man making a minstrel voice, that's how it's described by the ADL, and talking in what would have been a stereotypical black male accent in like 1930, like that kind of racism, like Brer Rabbit. Sort of.
Right.
Yeah. Quote, the voice talks about mud huts and unfair policing practices while the sound of drums and monkeys play in the background.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So
Which-
they were behind that one. Okay.
Yeah. Same group, both attacks. Wherever a political issue in this country has taken on even the faintest racial dimension, the Road to Power has been there. They robocalled people in Charlottesville after the bloody Unite the Right rally. Their calls urged voters to strip black people of civil rights. Yeah.
Quote?
Road to
Road to
hiding
power.
your power level, maybe?
They are not hiding it.
Not doing a very good
Not at all.
job.
When an undocumented immigrant was implicated in the murder of Molly Tibbetts, out came a robocall by theroadtopower.com stating that Latino Americans were, quote, low IQ, bottom-feeding savages. So these ads are obviously cartoonishly racist garbage. And according to the ADL, the founder of the Road to Power is Scott D. Rhodes, who they described as, quote, a white supremacist who achieved local notoriety in late 2017 when police linked him to the distribution of white supremacist propaganda at Sandpoint, Idaho High School, harassment of a Sandpoint resident, and threatening anti-Semitic calls that included recordings of Hitler. Seems like he's got an MO. Yeah. Now, it does appear that the website, theroadtopower.com, has been taken down. If you try to find it, you will be taken to his BitChute account. He also has a Gab that's still active.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
he loves Gab,
for those of
I'm
you who
sure.
don't know, Gab is basically Twitter for Nazis.
Yeah.
BitChute bills itself as anti-censorship YouTube, which basically means it's YouTube for Nazis.
Nazi YouTube,
These are the Nazi versions of the social media apps we all use. I'd like to play you a selection from one of the Road to Power's BitChute videos. So this video, which is like a regular show that he was doing, opens with like a montage. It's very offensive and racist, is what I'm like. It's They Live, but they've got like a Star of David superimposed on it, and yeah, just a Nazi imagery and all that stuff. It's pretty unfortunate. So here's Scott Rhodes, founder of theroadtopower.com, talking on his podcast / BitChute show about the 4th of July, which had just happened when this video ran.
In sad reality, there isn't much to commemorate. The American Revolution was a divide and conquer strategy by the same ethnic group behind the destructive English Revolution, the French Revolution, the Russian Revolution, the German Revolution, the revolutions of 1848, and even behind the Southern Secession of 1861.
Jews did the
Which
Confederacy.
was Jew manipulation of the South, a swindle that never should have happened. Revolution.
Wait.
Scott Rhodes.
What didn't they do?
They are a busy
So
people.
wait,
in
so
Scott
he's saying
Rhodes'
they were
mind.
behind the American Revolution?
Yeah.
So he's saying
But
that
that's
he
bad.
doesn't like America?
No, he's saying that it was a way to divide. I don't
But does
really
he wish
get
we
the
didn't?
ideology. I think he's saying kings are good and Jewish people wanted to stop that.
Yeah. It seems like he's fascist.
Yeah,
He
he
wants,
seems like he's a
some
fascist.
sort of like strongman dictatorial figure. So kings would be good. And the revolution was bad because apparently the Jews did it.
That all checks out.
It all checks out. This is unimportant, but is Road to Power spelled like his name?
No, it's not. You'd think so, right?
Missed opportunity.
Really missed opportunity. Now, this video I just put an excerpt from only has about 1,300 views and 7 upvotes. And his last posted video was near the end of August. The Road to Power seems to have paused its video production, and I haven't heard of a more recent robocall coming out from them. But they, meaning Scott, are still active on Gab, so that's nice to know.
Yeah, good for Gab.
Good for Gab.
I'm glad that they have a place.
Oh, it's nice, yeah. One of the big controversies in Gab right now is they just banned essentially animated child porn, which has really frustrated some free speech advocates.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I saw somebody complain about it, and it's like so very clear. Like,
I'm angry other people can't freely express their desire to fuck children.
Yeah,
I don't want to fuck children, but I think it's everybody else's right to be able to want to.
On principle,
On
I think
principle.
that free speech is important for these people who aren't me, who want to look at this kind of stuff. That's not why I'm on Gab, but I do support free speech. Unbelievable.
It's great.
I mean, extremely believable. But
Yeah, super believable. So the last candidate we're going to talk about today is an actual member of Congress right now.
That's cool.
Representative Steve King.
Yes.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Good stuff.
He is up for re-election in Iowa. He was first elected to the state Senate in 1997 and has been a member of the U.S. House of Representatives since 2003. And
long.
we're going to talk about Steve King for the rest of the episode, pretty much. But first, you know what I love? Lysol scrubbing wipes. They're
Oh,
on
yeah.
the table right now.
These are good for.
I use them for wiping up Lysol.
I just feel so rudderless without Doritos to plug.
I know.
Well, you
these are
can
tough
wipe up all
times.
those Dorito cheese with these Lysol wipes.
No, they don't get no more free advertising for the Doritos people.
Oh, yeah.
I'm putting my foot down.
Well, you wipe up the memory of them with these Lysol wipes.
Wipe up the memory, or purchase delightful Costco brand fake Doritos.
Yeah,
they sell.
fake Doritos or just some other chip.
A sun chip.
I would recommend Sun Chips. I
Sun
think
Chips are
they're
great.
One of the better chips.
One of the
out
better
there.
chips. Of the chips in the top 40% or so, for sure.
I would say, yeah.
Yeah.
The
I mean,
humble
they're-
Sun Chip.
They're good. They're
So-
not good for gluten free, but.
Speaking of things that are in the top 40%, our sponsors. And we're back. Boy, those ads were great.
I loved them.
So good.
I love a good ad.
So good.
Let's talk about Steve King.
Yay.
Now, as I was writing this story on October 17th, 2018, Vanity Fair published an article titled, Republican Congressman Steve King Endorses White Supremacy. Now, Vanity Fair is being a little bit unfair in the title because Steve King did not just come out and say, I am a white supremacist.
Yeah. They rarely do.
They rarely do,
Yeah.
but not actually all that rarely. And
No,
they still
apparently not,
usually
right.
wind up winning
Yeah.
when they do.
Even when they do.
So Representative Steve King, however, did not openly endorse white supremacy, just a white supremacist. The racist in question was Faith Goldy.
Ooh, yeah.
Faith Goldy is a right-wing YouTuber and a mayoral candidate for Toronto. She's run on a platform of preventing white genocide in Canada and recently recited the 14 words oath on a podcast. She did it laughingly and then proceeded to pretty vociferously defend the idea of essentially establishing a future for white children.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She
that's
also-
the idea.
One thing that struck me is like I'm familiar with the 14 words and like what they are,
Yeah,
like what
yeah,
they
yeah.
what they espouse. She didn't miss a beat. She knows them by heart. And then that's
Has them memorized.
Right, that's the thing where it's like, you want me to say them? Okay, I'll say them. Bam, 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 bam. I know it.
Some
You know-
people like to rap as a party trick, and she likes to memorize those
Yeah.
words.
She just likes to remember stuff like
One of the things
that.
that was interesting to me is the guy interviewing her in that video while they're having a conversation.
It's Millennial
after she
Woes,
says it.
right?
Yeah, Millennial Woes says something along the lines of, those words aren't as controversial as they used to be.
Oh
Not
my
an
God.
inaccurate statement.
Yeah.
Not an inaccurate
Why do you think
statement.
that is?
Yeah.
What do you think God is there?
So-
and do you think they should be?
Do you think they should be? No, I don't think Millennial Woes does.
No.
Now, Steve King, of course, does not identify as a white supremacist or a neo-Nazi or anything like that, but he does have a nasty habit of continually agreeing with people who are open white supremacists and neo-Nazis. Back in June, he retweeted a British neo-Nazi, Mark Collett, a white supremacist activist and the subject of a 2002 documentary, Young, Nazi, and Proud. So the post from Mark Collett, it's a Twitter post of what appears to be a Breitbart article, and Collett says 65% of Italians under the age of 35 now oppose mass immigration. Europe is waking up. Steve King quoted this and responded, Europe is waking up, ... Will America, ... in time. Fun stuff. Now, King claims he didn't know Mark Collette was a Nazi when he retweeted him, but he's refused to take down the tweet because that would basically mean admitting that he got bullied into not endorsing a Nazi's opinions, which is as bad as being a Nazi.
I hate being bullied into not endorsing a Nazi's opinions.
Oh, it's terrible. That's what the real Nazism is, telling people supporting Nazis is bad.
Just that that attitude of just refusing to say I made a mistake.
Yeah.
Right. It's the, like, never apologize to the mob. Well, what if they're like, don't endorse that Nazi?
Yeah.
What if the mob says that? Like, the idea that because like tons of people think a thing, that you should just resist it no matter what? Well, maybe they're right.
Yeah. Maybe you're continually agreeing with Nazis is a sign that you should reevaluate your values.
Maybe rethink, like, what your opinions
I know
are.
you don't identify as a Nazi, but maybe you do identify as a Nazi.
Yeah. Maybe you're a Nazi. Maybe you accidentally slid into Nazism.
And that's how it often happens with people.
Yeah.
Maybe, hey, GOP, just, like, think about why there's so many Nazis that support you.
Yeah. He told CNN, I mean, it's the message, not the messenger.
I love that.
I love that. Yeah.
Right, it is the message.
I
And
love
the
that
message
so
is white
much.
genocide.
And,
Yeah.
Right, he's tweeted that before recently. It was like, I would retweet the devil if the devil said, I love Jesus.
Yeah.
And first of all, you'd also retweet the devil if he tweeted the 14 words.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But, like, the whole point is that, like, don't believe what the devil says.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he's the
'Cause
devil.
he's the devil.
If the devil says, I love Jesus, maybe he's trying to trick you into
Yes.
perhaps, like...
You know, the thing the devil does.
like literally, like, think about what the devil does and
the
what you're not
only
supposed to
thing
do.
you should do with the devil is engage him in a fiddle playing contest.
Uh-huh.
If
you
you're
guys
good
saying-
at the fiddle.
If you're good at the
If
fiddle,
you're good
yeah.
at the
Are
fiddle.
you saying that if the devil had a come to Jesus moment, you wouldn't accept him?
I would
That's
wait for Jesus.
un-Christian.
I would wait for Jesus' opinion.
I would wait
yeah.
for Jesus' ruling on that
All
one.
right. So Jesus, the devil said this thing, and, like, I'm not one to trust the devil, so I'm waiting for you to
Now,
weigh
I know
in.
you just retweeted a Nazi, but
I'm like, what if you
Hey,
suddenly...
Jesus. Yeah. Did the Holocaust happen?
he has some strong opinions on that.
About it.
So Republicans have been notably loath to censure Representative Steve King when he tweeted that Western civilization can't be maintained with someone else's babies. Paul Ryan said, I'd like to think he misspoke. When
God, Paul Ryan is
When
so
Representative King clarified that he had not misspoken, Paul Ryan said not a goddamn thing.
Yeah, he didn't.
He didn't say a word. Now, Steve King still sits on the congressional subcommittees for civil justice and the Constitution. He continues to receive thousands of dollars from Koch Industries PAC. King's racism has been evident for some time, and it has not cost him any success with the Republican Party. According to a 2014 Talking Points memo profile, during the Iowa Senate campaign, he stumbled upon his signature issue in the legislature. English is the official language. He remembers the moment down to the exact date. During an October 10th, 1996 fundraiser at Yellow Smoke Park, sponsored by the then Governor Terry Branstad, a Republican, he made the speech that shaped his political future. I was running through my topics and I said, and I believe English should be the official language of the state of Iowa. And it just brought the House down. There was this huge applause, King says. I knew how strongly I believed in it, but I didn't know how strongly they believed in it.
That's how the politics go.
Representative King is known in Washington for keeping a small Confederate flag on his desk, even though Iowa fought with the Union.
How do you, like...
You're in Iowa, dude!
That's nuts.
Iowans died stopping the Confederacy.
And, like, obviously, like, even if you live in the South, maybe, like, recognize the history and, like, what that means. But, like, you're in Iowa, man.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I have a little bit more, it's not right, but if, like, you come from a family and a bunch of your relatives fought for the Confederacy, you have a little bit of a leg to stand on. I don't think it's a heritage issue, but, like, it's different from an Iowan elected representative kicking it.
Right.
It's like, well, yeah, you live in Georgia and your whole family fought for the Confederacy. I'm not surprised you have a Confederate flag on your desk. I think it's fucked up, but it's not weird.
I know how you got there.
Steve King, how?
Right.
How did this happen?
And, like, I know how, but...
Yeah, we know how. Steve King has also claimed that dreamers who came here as children have calves the size of, quote, cantaloupes, because each of them carries 75 pounds of marijuana into the country with them when they cross the border.
That's the one.
In 2008, he stated that because of Barack Obama's middle name, if elected president, the radical Islamists, the Al-Qaeda, would be dancing in the streets in greater numbers than they did on September 11th because they would declare victory in this war on terror. You guys remember that when Al-Qaeda won the war on terror because Barack Obama's middle name was the name of a guy who hated Al-Qaeda and fought them brutally?
Vaguely sounds
Do
familiar.
you remember that? The anti-Islamist Saddam Hussein, how that was a bigot. I don't understand the logic
familiar
here.
with that. Yeah, I'm very familiar.
All brown people are the same.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
that
now
is
I
true.
see what we're
You
talking
got to
about.
think of it in king terms.
Yeah,
there we go.
Steve King twist.
Now it's all making sense.
Yeah. Now, in 2016, Representative King filed an amendment to block attempts to put Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill. He's just a gargoyle.
At least he's doing something useful with his time in office.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's something. Yeah.
Very useful, impactful on people's lives.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Harriet Tubman, what heroic thing did she do other than smuggle thousands of people to freedom? Meanwhile, Andrew Jackson genocided some people. You guys want to spend some 20s?
She was breaking the law, man. She was a criminal.
She was a criminal.
She was a criminal. Why would we celebrate that?
He was a president with a big old wheel of cheese. Now, in December of last year, Steve King quoted Hungarian Prime Minister and almost dictator Viktor Orban in a tweet. The quote from Orban that he tweeted was, "Mixing cultures will not lead to a higher quality of life, but a lower one." Fuck the melting pot.
That is literally not true.
No, flies in the face of literally 12,000 years of human experience.
That's like, oh my God.
Have you had
did you
Cali-Mex
just-
or Tex-Mex, buddy?
Did you just wake up and like look at?
Honestly,
Rock and roll music?
let's give them a little country they can all go live and die off and just become inbred and
It would be nice, right? If
Right, like
we
just
could-
like do the thing that you want. The
If
thing
we-
that.
go ahead. See how it works out.
If we just had two planets and they could do whatever they wanted to one, and we could not poison the atmosphere
Right.
of this one,
Have a control
still
group
have our
and then-
political disagreements,
Sure.
Right,
but all be like, well, conservative or liberal, let's keep the oxygen breathable.
Yeah.
Common ground.
Common ground.
Common ground, common air.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I love this idea, this emergence of like, diversity is just bad.
Yeah.
And it hurts everybody. And like,
No, it hurts racists running on racist
racist.
politics.
Yes.
And like, studies even show that like, yeah, at first like a lot of diversity and like multiculturalism can like cause people to sort of like hunker down and like get in their little tribes, but over time it benefits everybody in all aspects of life.
Yeah, kind of like how we landed on the moon when we stole scientists from all around the world, multiple different countries, and
kinda
had
like
them
that.
all working together to put people on the moon.
And like when you have like was it the code talkers, where it's like, yeah, you have like different people from like different walks of life, and
Yeah.
like you work together.
Well,
and
like that time when multicultural massive nations defeated an alliance of unicultural fascists in a global war that killed tens of millions. The time when the people who believed in multiculturalism won that war.
speak on that. Tell me about this magical made-up war.
Sounds very true, Robert.
Also, like human existence and like life on the planet, evolution is built off of diversity and time.
Yeah, like how hybrids, when people who are different make babies, the babies are healthier.
And
just
so beautiful.
Yeah. How like racially mixing is literally the best way to ensure your child has a robust immune system.
Yeah.
That sounds made up.
That sounds like some scientific numbo bullshit to me.
Now you're going to tell me they should be vaccinated too.
It is weird how the far left and the far right, they're lockstep about whooping cough being great. Like, common ground.
Give me the measles.
We're not so broken as we think.
Kind of lockstep about Jewish conspiracies too, weirdly
Yeah.
enough. Yeah, that is kind of weirdly common. Anyway, in interviews, and saying this as a leftist, whole lot of creepy Jewish conspiracy theories on the left too. Nobody's blameless here. Yeah. Now, in interviews, Steve King has also advised Americans to read The Camp of the Saints, a far-right fascist anti-immigrant book about a boat filled with brown people sailing over to destroy a white civilization. Steve Bannon loves this book.
Oh, yeah.
I bet Lauren Southern loves that book
Oh,
too.
she got it. I bet she's got the cover tattooed on her arm.
That's probably where she got her idea to like block boats from saving people in the ocean.
Oh, God.
Oh. Steve King is currently running against Democrat J.B. Scholten, a man whose most notable trait is his ability to not repeatedly agree with and amplify the voices of outright fascists.
I like that.
Sounds great to me. According to the Des Moines Register, he has significantly outraised King, but the election is still something of a long shot for the Democratic challenger. So, if you are in Iowa, please don't vote for the guy who regularly recites neo-Nazi talking points.
Don't vote for that guy.
Don't vote for that guy.
We're going to talk about this race in our next podcast.
Yeah, I mean, just like all these like amplifying, even like a Tucker Carlson, just like amplifying like Nazi talking points.
Yeah,
just like I'm just asking questions. I'm just agreeing. I'm not agreeing with
just
like,
asking Nazi
them.
questions.
I'm just asking Nazi questions.
Stop it right now.
Stop
asking those questions.
Stop asking Nazi questions.
Yeah, we answered that question in 1945 with a no.
Right. We said no.
We said no.
No.
Yeah, we killed like 9 million of them.
Yeah.
Well, the Russians.
And then
did.
like the lead boy was like, I'm gonna kill myself.
Yeah, and that was great. Really, the best choice Hitler made.
Yeah.
I support that last.
Yeah,
move.
he finally did something right.
He finally.
You did it, buddy.
You know what? That is kind of inspiring because we all got on the same page at the end there.
Yeah. We all agreed.
We all agreed Hitler needed to die.
This is a bad idea. I shouldn't be around.
Oh boy.
Common ground.
Common ground.
Common ground, common air.
All right. Now that we've achieved common ground, Katy,
Yeah.
Cody, you guys got some pluggables to plug?
Always.
Yeah, just our dumb show. Our great show.
Our great show.
Yeah.
Yeah, check out Some More News, twitter.com/Some More News, Patreon/Some More News, YouTube as well. That's where you can watch the show.
And then just to mix things up, our podcast is called Even More News.
Even more news.
You can find that on all the podcasts.
All the podcast things.
Great YouTube shows.
Yeah.
Thanks, Robert.
On Twitter, I'm Dr. Mr. Cody. That's DRMISTERCODY.
And that's going to follow you always.
I know. I wish I could change it.
Or just
Don't
become
love
a
it.
doctor.
That's my solution.
But you're never going to be a mister.
But I'll
Yes,
just
you
change
are.
my name to Mr.
Okay,
legally,
there we go.
And I'll change my last name legally to Cody, and there we go.
Beautiful.
Middle name Cody.
Last name.
Okay. Just get
My
rid
name
of
is
Johnston.
my name is Mr. Cody. I'll become a doctor.
Johnston's too confusing anyway.
Common ground.
Common ground.
Well, this has been Behind the Bastards. You can find us on the internet at behindthebastards.com. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at @bastardspod. You can find me on Twitter at @IWriteOK. I also do some freelance writing for an investigative journalism firm called Bellingcat. You should give them some of your money. They're good. They're doing stuff like proving U.S. munitions are murdering children in Yemen, proving the Russian government sent spies over to assassinate people in London. Really cool reporting. They need some money. Anyway, this has been Behind the Bastards. I love about 40% of you. And please, for the love of Christ, if you are in any of the states or districts where these people are running for office, vote for not the people we talked about today.
Please.
Vote for not the Nazis.
Vote for not the Nazis.
Vote for not the Nazis.
Vote against the Nazis.
Yeah, we all have our own politics. Not going to try to push mine on you. Aside from, don't vote for Nazis.
I think that's the one thing we should all be able to agree on.
Don't
push
vote for
that.
Nazis.